today. It's so great to see new people and people who haven't been here for a while. So just raise your hand if this is your first ATD meeting. Oh, awesome. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming. So I have the privilege of introducing our speaker. This is Jae Allain. And I met Jae here at ATD, I don't know, about 3 years ago? And just fell in love with her. Like just her energy and her passion for what she does. And so I sort of became a stalker. And I was saying, Jae, you've got to do a program. You've just got to teach us what you know. Because she's so good at it. And so finally here we are today. So this is sort of a dream come true for me today. Let me tell you about Jae. Jae has a BA in Film Production and Communication and an associate's degree in IT. She is currently working on her master's degree in Instructional Technology at the University of Maine. She is also an instructional designer for online learning at Southern Maine Community College. Her primary job is to help faculty create engaging online courses, and she also supports face-to-face, tech-enhanced, and hybrid courses as well. Prior to her job in higher education at SMCC, Jae worked in the K-12 classroom and in corporate training. And I also want to introduce Jae's fiance is here, Scott Fortune. They're getting married. He's here to videotape her for it's for your master's degree program, right? Yeah. So, yeah, good.
So don't be afraid of the camera. Okay?
Yeah. So good. So thank you, Jae, for coming. Welcome, Jae.
So I'm really excited to be here with you all this morning. Like Fran said, I work in online learning at Southern Maine Community College, but I will tell you a little secret. I only have ever worked on a team of 3 people. So when Fran was talking about technology in the classroom, I thought about, well, I mean, it's just usually me. So I have like a toolbox of things that I go to, and that's where I pull from. I don't usually have a team of people that can help me. So how to create engaging presentations using technology when you have no money and you have no people is really no problem. So small teams, limited funds, has always forced me to be kind of creative and resourceful in the way that I create educational content for my audience. And today I'm going to talk to you about the exciting tools that I use. And I'm hoping that everybody can get a device handy. So what we're going to do today is more of a workshop than me talking to you about what I do. And so if you have a phone or a computer or a tablet, feel free to get that out. So like Fran said, I'm Jae. That's my cat Gwendolyn. You'll see her. I'm going to use her as some examples. Big fan. We're going to use my website, j.uptoyourt.com, for all of the resources. And if you ask me, what does uptoyourt.com mean, which I know is something that somebody is thinking already, I do own a yurt in Bethel with my fiance. And so if you are on my website, I want you to go to my presentation today, but feel free to explore our yurt, which is also a link on the site. If you don't know what a yurt is, you can find a picture as well as a video how we built it. I do have a pre-presentation survey that will help me to kind of eliminate some tools that you guys have maybe already experienced. And you're welcome to take that survey now, or as we move into our resource tool, the HyperDoc. There are 2 chairs. There's one here and there's one over here. I know, sorry, I'm like right up front, but you can see if you're comfortable. So while everybody's getting into the website, I wanted to talk a little bit about what inspired me to finally submit a proposal to talk to you, other than Fran being an exceptional cheerleader. So I like to go to conferences, and I like to attend professional development, and I like to take classes because I like to see what other people are doing. So at conferences, I'm the person that's sitting at the conference with the breakout worksheet in front of me going, how many sessions can I go to maximize the amount of time and all the things that I can learn while I'm here, as well as talk to as many humans as possible. And so lately, I found myself feeling a little bit disappointed with some of the sessions that I attended. So here are 4 sessions that I recently attended. So, developing and launching a course refresh initiative. I saw that, I was like, yes, we're migrating our learning management system to something new. And so I want to know exactly how I can redo like 200 courses in a systematic way. I want to go to that session. Using video in the classroom. Yeah, I want to know how other people are using video in the classroom. Enhancing online learning on a shoestring budget. That's me, right? I'm on a team of 2 people, it's just us, and nobody wants to give us any money. So that's what I want to know about. And the last one, green screen without the green screen. What sorcery is this? Does everybody here know what green screening is? Okay, so like how? I saw that and I was like, I'm going to that, I need to know how. So I felt like I should have been like the person that writes the descriptions in the breakout session book, because when I went to these sessions, I was really disappointed. So I rewrote the titles to be more reflective of what actually happened in the sessions. All right, so developing and launching a course refresh initiative with an army. There were 15 people in the front of the room doing the presentation. There is no way I can replicate that, right? So disappointment. Left that session early. Using video in the classroom? No. Using Kaltura in your classroom? Okay, can't buy Kaltura. Useless for me. Ask the guy, so if this is going to be a tool agnostic presentation, can you tell me about what free tools you use? And he was like, oh, I don't know. We use Kaltura. I'm like, great. Okay, thanks. Enhancing online learning on a shoestring budget with a team of 10. If you have 10 people presenting on your team, you do not have a shoestring budget. Like seriously, okay? You don't. If you have 10 people, somebody is investing in your program, you have human power. Last one. I don't even know why she called it this, because it was how to remove the background from an image. Great. I will share that tool with you though, because it is handy, but it's not green screen without a green screen. So when I thought about this, I felt really disappointed, right? So here you are spending money, you're spending time, you know, yeah, you're learning stuff, but it's not what I want to learn. I want to learn how to use video in the classroom like tomorrow. Not something that I have to go and rally and budget for. I want to know about how to create and develop online courses when it's just me sitting in the office or just me and my boss. And, you know, I really do have a shoestring budget, so that is interesting to me, but if you don't really have a shoestring budget, I feel like that really is false advertising. So that was my first inspiration. I said, okay, Fran wants me to come, I gotta come and talk about using technology, and I'm really disappointed in some of the presentations that I've seen recently, so how can I do something better? Then I started cleaning, right? So I was cleaning out some stuff in my garage, and I came across my Goosebumps books. Has anybody read Goosebumps? Okay, so like in thinking about like how can I talk to people about technology in the classroom and not talk at them and make all of them look like their brains are going to ooze out of their ears, and I remembered how excited I was to read these books. So these are a special kind of Goosebumps books. I'll throw them out on the table. You guys can take a look at them. They are not like a regular Goosebumps book, which is sequential, right? You start at the beginning, you read to the end. These books are Reader Beware, You Choose the Scare. So it made me think, right, so if I can start on page 1 of a book, and then when I get to a big decision in the story, and I get to decide where I go from there, I thought about, well, that's what I want to do with my presentation. I want to start somewhere, so like right now we're starting, I have something for you. It's a tool, we're going to use it. And then I really just want to know what you want to learn and help you to get there. So it's like a really simple concept, right? What do you want to learn? How do you want to get there? So modeled by my, 1995 Goosebumps books. Thank you, R.L. Stein. So choose your own adventure. What is that going to look like? What does that mean for us today? It means that I am going to ask you to do stuff. I'm going to ask you to use your phone. I'm going to ask you to use your computer. I'm going to ask you to use your tablet. I'm going to ask you to talk to your neighbors. And things might get a little messy. They might get a little loud. And that's okay. We'll try to rein it back in. But ultimately, this presentation is for you. It's for you to be able to leave here with something. So I really only have 2 goals. I'm going to introduce to you tools that work for me. And they might not work for you, and that's okay. But at the end, I want you to leave with a new tool that you can use to build this toolbox of yours. Right? So I like to think of all of my tools as a toolbox. I work with faculty, so faculty comes to me and they ask me, hey, I want to do this in my class. Or I want to do this in my online learning. And I say, okay, well, what are you doing now? And they'll tell me. And then from there, I'll look at that toolbox and I'll formulate something that I think might work for them. I'll show it to them, and we'll either develop it, or if it doesn't work for them, we'll go on and we'll try something else. So that's what we're going to do. So my raffle item today is a book that I'm reading, and it's called Educated by Design, and it's about design thinking and being creative with your classroom. And there are 2 chapters in here that are really relevant to the whole idea of what we're doing today, and that is chapter 6, Technology is Just a Tool, and chapter 11, which is Cultivating Your Creativity Toolkit. So whoever wins this book, we can be in a nice little book club with each other because I'm reading it too. I'm also blogging about it on my site, which I never blog, but this is me trying to learn new tools. So today, I want everybody to remember that technology is a tool, so I'm going to show you a bunch of tools. Really, all you have to do is leave with one. It's going to help you out. Start small, right? So start with that one tool. And everything that I talk about today is going to be available to you in the resource that I share with you, and will be available on my website, and we'll share it with everybody that can. And you're welcome to share that around with the people at your organization or with your personal learning network. It's something that I threw together that I think is helpful for me, and I hope will be helpful for you. And I'd like you to ask questions. So today won't work if you don't ask any questions and you don't participate. And I'll just walk through my toolkit and we'll all leave and hopefully we'll get the same goal. But I think it's much funner if we all kind of participate, interact, and have a good time with it. I want you to feel comfortable to get up and get coffee, to get water, get snacks, and to talk with the people at your table. So this isn't going to be very quiet. I know it's really quiet right now, but I anticipate that it will not be here as we move forward, okay? Is that something that everybody's comfortable with? Mm-hmm. Awesome. So, we're going to start with a hyperdoc. So those of you that have already jumped on my website, j.uptoyear.com, look for the presentations page, the No Money, No People, No Problem. And when you get there, at the very top should be something that I titled a hyperdoc. Is everybody here familiar with the concept of a hyperdoc? I'm using it a little differently here for us today, but it's kind of the same idea.
Can you explain?
Yes. So a hyperdoc is essentially like a digital worksheet. You can use it as a place to place information. You can use it as literally a worksheet. If we were really using this as a worksheet, I would have check boxes next to each of the tools, and you might check them off, and then maybe there's an activity at the end to show me what you've learned. That, I think, is for you, so we won't do that, but that's a hyperdoc. So I built it, it's a Google Doc. That's all it is. And a lot of people use this in K-12. I find a lot of K-12 stuff really works with adult learners because it's fun. And like we all like to have fun even if we aren't 12. I mean, I basically feel like a big kid, and so I'm just excited about things that are fun and exciting. So once you get to the hyperdoc, you will see a long list of tools. Most tools are going to have a link to the tool, an example or directions, and when you leave here, you're going to have access to this. So don't feel like you need to learn everything. Feel like you can click around and explore while you're on it. We're going to start off, and I'm going to ask you with what you want to learn, but first I want to make sure everybody's there.
Is there a Wi-Fi password?
There isn't. There's like open Wi-Fi. It's like public Wi-Fi. Go down. Alright, I see some people are there. Alright, cool, I see it. Yes, right. So there are two links there. The first is to Google Docs. If you've never used Google Docs before, it just takes you there. The other one that says HyperDoc is the actual data. All right, cool.
What are the main menu bars? And you'll see and then under there, there's HyperDoc.
So again, the goal
Oh, so they do have to.
Yes.
So HyperDoc says, what is a hyperdoc?
Yep. So if you're there, you're on the right page. So you can scroll through there, and that's all
So what is it?
Documents with hyperlinks in it.
document with hyperlinks.
Okay.
It's like a digital click all the links and go to the same place. You're
Obviously, start with that, and then I try to come for 8 o'clock. Well, I knew it was
So it says,
lighter way, but it seems like it's just
All right, so you want to go to the website. Back up. Wow.
Yeah.
First back.
I did.
There you go.
It's
just 'cause I was here.
That's the same page.
But I usually work
Yes.
wherever my
Okay.
Yes, that's where you want to go.
Thank you.
All right, so Jay, we're having issues. It's not letting me.
What is conceptual location?
an hour here, an hour there. And my client
Alright, so I think everybody is there, or at least everybody has somebody at their table who is there, okay? So all a hyperdoc is a list of links, okay? If you are using it in the classroom, this might be something that you want them to do, places that you want them to go, or it could just be resources that you want to share. And so what I'm doing today is I'm sharing with you a very large list of tools in this hyperdoc. You will see that in the hyperdoc there is also a link to the hyperdoc. That is okay. That is just, I'm just like reinforcing it in case you get lost. So we're going to start off with, it should be like, I think it's the second link up there. It's the Poll EP. Somebody is already on this, and I know who it is. This is Poll Everywhere. Poll Everywhere is a polling app that ATD uses for their surveys, but we're going to use today so that you can share with me what you want to learn. So that should be at the top of the hyperdoc. It says, what do you want to learn? So when you click on that link, it will open up a new window. No, you want to be in the doc. Go back. No, it will.
What do you want to learn?
You're clicking on Google Document.
I miss the office.
And now you want to go to
So busy.
what do you want to learn.
Where is
Alright.
it? Do you see it?
Oh, but that,
Oh, there it is.
that won't
Yeah,
open up.
so it says, what do you want to learn? Tech tools, yes. Thing link, remove that. That's the green screen without the green screen. I will show you that if you'd like, it's interesting. Oh. So you could tell me that you want to learn something specific that's on the hyperdoc. So it could be like, I want to learn Prezi. It could be something along the lines of, oh, there we go, video tools, exactly. That's a whole category that we talked about. Yay! Pixel chart, one new learning tool, low-cost alternatives.
What's a Poll Everywhere?
Everything.
This is Poll Everywhere, but it's built into, it's the Google Slide add-on. So if you've never used Poll Anywhere in a Google Slide deck, you can embed your questions and then continue through your presentation and get the polls in live, right?
That's very cool.
Or you can use it offline too, right? So you could use it as surveys. You could use it as pre or post surveys. We'll talk a little bit about surveys if people are interested too. All right, I like this.
So, Jay, how do you embed it?
So to embed it, and I'll show you, you just have to download the extension in Google Slides.
Okay.
So when you're in Google Slides, you know how at the top there's a place that you can go and find extensions.
Sure, let's say I do know that.
Just like with Google Chrome, you can download a bunch of extensions in their app. So in Slides, you can download the Poll Everywhere extension. And that allows you to do what I just did, which is literally, I just embedded this onto a slide. This is just a slide. And it talks to Poll Everywhere, and it pulls all of the information that you're showing me. Everything I'm interested in learning more about all methods.
So it's under add-ons?
It's under add-ons, yeah.
Yeah, so get add-ons.
And then search for Poll Everywhere.
Love it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Yeah, yeah. So, this is awesome. Secret of life. I don't know if I have that. Tools for livening up interactions online. Excellent. All the things from the course's titles you mentioned earlier. Your life. Excellent. We'll have a guest speaker for that part. Engaging presentations. Okay, cool. So let's start with, I want to start with the big one, but everything, I know, right? So I did see a lot, I saw some specific tools. I see presentations quite a bit. So let's start with presentations. So is everybody put up there? I see some specific tools, and then I see the presentation one. It's like a big one. We have been full. Okay, cool. That's exciting. I didn't know that would happen. So I'll take it.
But I'll add for specific, Kahoot and Flipgrid.
Okay. We'll definitely play Kahoot because that will be fun. So if we look at presentations, I did give you a link to a free template tool. I basically use either Google Slides or Prezi for my presentations because both are available online. So like if I kill this computer tomorrow, it doesn't matter. All of my stuff has been saved in either Prezi's drive or in Google's drive, right? So that helps me in the idea that most likely I will break my computer, or I will lose something, or maybe I didn't bring my charger, which are all things that I do quite frequently. So if I just do it in slides, or if I just do it
In Prezi, I can go get them, whatever.
so the presentation that we started with, where I walked through my very short slide deck, is built in Google Slides. We already talked a little bit about this table over here, asked how did I get the poll everywhere embedded in it. That's an add-on, and Google Slides has lots of add-ons. But you can also go, if you're using PowerPoint, or if you're using Google Slides, you can go to Slides Carnival and you can download free templates that look really awesome. So somebody the other day told me, I really like the font that you use in your presentation. I was like, thank you. I downloaded it for free off the internet. It didn't cost me anything. But explore the site. Somebody shared this with me when I was working in K through 12. They have lots of cool templates. So that's the first thing I'll say. If you make your presentation slightly different, people tend to be really excited about it. Like just a simple font was exciting for that person.
I'm just curious, what, two reasons to move to Google Slides or Prezi instead of staying with PowerPoint, thank you.
PowerPoint costs money.
Exactly.
So if you have no money and you want to do presentations that are fun and exciting, then you might not have access to PowerPoint. If you have access to PowerPoint, I'm not saying don't use it. What I'm saying is that if it's not available to you because your company doesn't pay for it and you don't have access to it, there are alternatives that nobody's ever going to know the difference, really. And they're also cloud-based. So the benefit of that is that if you save your PowerPoint on that computer and tomorrow you spill that full cup of coffee on it and it's gone, if you didn't save it in like the cloud, 365, it's gone, right?
Yep.
So those are the benefits of using one of those cloud-based tools. So has anybody used a Prezi before? Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So I do have an example Prezi that I will show you. So Prezi is just...
It's not free though.
Prezi? Yeah. Yeah. I know, right? And if you, so I work at EDU, so I get all the like special things free with an educational account. But most of the tools that I'll show you are either 100% free, or like they have like a free buy that additional cost if you want the special like gadgets. Like SurveyMonkey, has everybody used SurveyMonkey? Yeah, SurveyMonkey's free, but you pay if you want the things that you want from it, right? So Prezi is the same idea. This is a Prezi that I built. I can present it remotely. And you can just share that link. So everybody in your audience could, if they wanted to, jump on the Prezi and interact with it. You can also embed this into like your websites. I can't embed it to WordPress because I don't pay for that feature. But if I did, it would just be there. So it's a great way if you want to build like a low-cost e-learning solution where they can interact and they can play because it moves. So let's training for when we had big meetings, and I would embed teeny videos in it. And then we'd walk through the presentation and I'd be able to launch the videos right from inside the interaction. And so it was a fun way to kind of present the information, and it was different and it moves. And so people are like, oh, that's cool. And that's really all I'm going for most days, is that if you think it's cool, then I've, accomplished something. So like with this guy, we move in and out, right? So if I have this embedded on a website and I move from slide to slide, I can move in and out. Now, so some people will tell you that they get motion sickness from this. So again, audience, right? So if you're in a group full of people that absolutely is like, no, then go with like Google Slides. Go with PowerPoint if you have it. You can embed videos in it. So like if I wanted to play this, I could watch it through. And this is one that I actually made for one of my classes. There we go. I was like, I know something will happen. Where I was trying to explain how you create a word cross.
Jay,
this for self-paced learning? Like somebody has to read a manual or a document and they can, kind of pick and choose which chapter they might want to read, or you're trying to do some policy kind of stuff. Have you ever used it for
Yeah,
that?
you can. So here's the only thing about it is that you have to have a place to put it. So most Prezis are embeddable in learning management systems, but sometimes I find that the permissions on those learning management systems prohibit them from being viewed by the people you want to view them. So if you're going to use a Prezi in a self-paced way, you want to make sure that you have a place to put it, or that you can give them directions on how to get to the website. I guess you could show it like remotely like this. You can just share the link and they can go in and they can click on it. So you can send it in like an email.
Or I guess like an intranet, if I don't care
Right.
if I don't need to track who watches it,
Exactly.
I could just put it on an intranet site.
Right. So
Have you done this mobile? Do you know how mobile
yes,
friendly
it
Prezi
is mobile friendly. Is anybody looking at it on their phone? Because you can click on these. So I find that building a Prezi on mobile is really challenging because of the size, but viewing it is not so bad.
Okay.
So if anybody's on the HyperDoc, feel free to open it and like click through it. Like I want you to click through things as you're going. If you get like totally lost in like what we're talking about as a group, that's okay, because when we move on to the next tool, we'll come back to it. So that's Prezi basically, and they have all these awesome templates, and their newer site has even more templates that are wicked cool. Like one of them that I was looking at is a computer screen, and there's post-it notes around the computer screen. So if you wanted to share like quick tips, maybe they're quick security tips where you want to make sure that people are using their device responsibly in the workplace, but there's lots of different ways that you can utilize it. So that is Prezi. That's Slide Carnival. So Google Slides we talked a little bit about. So this right here, the no money, no people, no problem, that's just a Google slide deck with a template that I got off of Slides Carnival. I can build one of these in approximately 10 minutes. So, if you are looking for something that you can build real fast, if you are a PowerPoint whiz, you can do the same thing. And then the last piece that I have in presentation is Adobe Spark, and I'm actually really excited to share with you my example. Has anybody used Adobe Spark? Oh, exciting. So it's a free tool that you can get from Adobe. If you have your phone out, you can download the app right now. You can build a video, you can do social media posts, or you can do pages. So you could essentially build like mini websites where you can share information with people. And it's free, and it's built by Adobe, so it's real good. And I built a video the other day in approximately 20 minutes on my phone about my cats. And I don't know if I'll have audio. Oh, that makes me sad. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
We'll listen to Jake.
I put it up in that, so.
He also kind of thinks he's a dog
Oh.
and destroys paper, but he's wicked cute.
He's adorable.
This is my buddy.
There's my other cat.
She is a princess, and she'll let you
You
know.
built this
She loves
in Adobe
snuggles.
Spark
On my phone.
on your phone in like 20 minutes.
You got
She
it.
has
You
to
just
like
put pictures
slap
in and then
outside
you
of
record
her.
over it.
Yeah.
And she's a
And
big
this
fan
audio
of
is from my
catnip
phone.
play.
Audio from your phone.
Yeah.
And you can, and then it's just available, anybody can go and download it.
Yeah.
Did you have to, where did you put it? So like I have safety consultants who
Right.
are all across the country and they live and die by their phone.
Yeah.
I want to give them a 2-minute training.
Yeah.
Where do I put the presentation?
So mine right here, what I'm linking to is Adobe Spark.
Oh, so I can just store it right
So
in my
yeah.
account into
So now if you have security concerns, you can download them and view them. So like you could download it, you could embed it into an intranet. So like if you have Google that you use internally, you can just put it there.
Could I-
You could share it via email.
Could I send the link
You could send the
in
link.
email?
Yeah.
And then they can go get it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. recommend checking out his Twitter account or his Instagram account. He's known as the Tech Rabbi, and he does a whole series on Adobe Spark and how he uses it in his classroom. And like, I really pull a lot of inspiration from the K through 12 folk, right? Because they got to keep like young kids engaged, but it's the same thing for us, right? So we're dealing with adults. We want to keep them. We want to grab them. We want to get their attention. We want to keep their attention, right? And what's the better way to do it than with like cute little videos? And they can make these. So like, say you have like a remote workforce that's trying to share information about maybe safety protocols, right? They can go and do like a little recording on their phone, and they can throw it up. They can add the music. The music is something that Adobe gives to you. So like, that's something that it just picks up, but you could pull in your own music, you know what I mean? So maybe they want to like be creative, they want to show a little bit of themselves. It's a great tool.
Safety blog for their clients.
You got it.
Digging this.
You got it.
And Jay, is this something, an Adobe Spark video like this, is that something that can be embedded into like a presentation
Yes.
like in Google Slides and
Yes.
things like that?
So I will tell you that I spent a lot of time playing with embeds, and on my WordPress site where this HyperDoc lives and where some of you saw, I've duplicated some of these things and embedded them so you can kind of get an idea of what the embed looks like. Your environment might be different. So if you're using an internal tool, there might be security permissions on it that doesn't allow you to embed certain things. So I would recommend talking to IT about what you can and can't use. A lot of things aren't necessarily, like, they're not locked down, right? So if it's not locked down, then just sharing the link and having it on Spark, like, I don't know that a lot of people are going to search for videos on my cats, but they might. I just have it shared. It's free and open. You can go check it out. But yeah, so, I mean, there's lots of ways that you can share the stuff. And depending on your environment, you might find a tool that really works for what you're trying to do and really fits in well with what IT has for you. So I can embed these into my learning management system, like Blackboard takes Adobe Sparks. So maybe I want to do a discussion board of Adobe Sparks where I build a video and somebody else builds a video and we comment on those videos. So, I mean, that's what I got in my presentation box. But I did see ThingLink was something that people were interested in. So if you actually look at the website, you'll see that I've embedded the ThingLink.
Did you go into under e-learning, did you go under ThingLink or My Blackboard template?
So you can click on my Blackboard template. That's what this is. You've seen this, right, Mike? Okay. I just want to make sure you. So a ThingLink is a cool little tool that you can use if you're developing for online, right? So if I wanted to pop this someplace, it's just a video. It's just a picture that I've added hot links to. I just drop the hot links onto the picture, and then when somebody comes in and views it, they can click on my little links, and they can see more about where I've placed them. I have a little video here, and this is a course overview, like how do you use my course in Blackboard. These ones I can change the icons, so this just talks a little bit about what's in each of those little buckets. So you might use this for describing a procedure. So maybe you have a lockbox that needs a special way that people open it. I think about the lockout tagout things that I used to make, right? So you embed the image of the device, and then you put hot links on it. That would be procedural. It'll tell you how to go from A to B. If you look at ThingLink's website, they have examples on there with videos. So you can embed a video. This one's really cool. I guess technically it's still an image, but you can move around it. No, I want this one. This one's actually really good. So you click on the different items, and this one will tell you different things depending on where you click. So I saw a lot of examples of my classmates using this for their K-12 students and describing places in their classroom. Go here and you'll find books that you can read for free, or this is where we'll do story time. And it was something that they like brought up on like their display projector, and then they talked about like classroom rules. So that was a really cool like way to use it. But it's totally embeddable in like everything. So this was like the easiest thing to embed, with the exception of, I found that certain sites, this was a learning management system, had a permission problem. So I couldn't embed it into certain learning management systems because of permissions. So if you like it and you want to use it, all you do is start with an image or a video, and then from there you can build it out. But you drop the things wherever you want them to go. You can change the icons to be whatever you want it to be, and then those icons can trigger videos, they can trigger audio, they can trigger other pictures or other videos.
Jay, when you're talking about embedding onto a learning management system, in terms of if you needed to track, you set page double tracking, and so after that person's viewed it, so it's open and then it closes, and then you would just assume that they viewed it.
Right, or that might be a good opportunity to have like follow-up questions, right? So view this, and then answer these questions, and then you say, well, they completed it because they viewed it and they answered the questions correctly.
Right.
Any other questions on that? I had fun with this. All right, let me see what else we have on our list here. I heard somebody out back say like Flipgrid, and I heard somebody else say Kahoot. Actually, this might be a good time for us to play a Kahoot, because it's really quiet and we can kind of all get together. So, at your tables, we're going to play it as a team. So a Kahoot is a game. You can build your own Kahoots. Today, we're going to play a Kahoot about the month of November. You can go onto their website and you can choose Kahoots that they've already made. So amongst yourselves at your tables, choose somebody to be your clicker, your person that is going to speak for the group. The way the game works in team mode is that you have 3 seconds before your clicker is active, and then you have 30 seconds for your team to respond with the answer. And then in real time, we'll be able to see who got the answers right, and then at the end, there will be a leadership board. So, choose your clicker wisely.
It's all about
Yeah, I think there must be, we have to figure out from existing.
She wanted us to figure it out.
Oh, okay. So at your table, only one person is going to put the
Form
link.
surveys and polling.
So first choose your person. So you have 5. Okay.
I'll do it.
So the Let's Play link is the one that we're going for. It should be kahoot.it.
I guess the world is evolving.
I know. Well, this
Just when you have some
so let's see.
an element.
Should we go?
So we're still waiting.
Yeah, we're waiting for it to get.
I mean, I was just able to.
I have the same issue that
Turn off your Wi-Fi, turn it back on.
Hold on just a minute.
Yeah, that worked out well for the video. Your audio was better than my audio. And the timing was perfect. So Mike, you're with Southern Maine Community College?
Jay.
Mike, are you going to be the clicker?
I don't know actually what we're doing. I just have to be the player.
She's all about it. It is funny how it just kicked everybody off the internet.
I'm supposed to get it into your
We have such treats.
So, you're going to go, your clicker is going to go to Presentor Jae Allain.
There we go.
And there's the pen.
Somebody's gonna be 35.
Yes.
Okay.
Pick one.
Are you guys there?
I'd like to
Are we
supposed to play it, or?
We're waiting for everybody to be queued up. You have choices.
Oh, I see. Actually, hey,
Yeah, I had some text and I read it.
Right. It's funny.
I don't know, that would be really dizzy. Oh, there we go. We got some, we got Wheat Condor, Sammy Zebra.
Yeah, that's us.
Oh, they're just.
We don't go through here. Yeah, so if your name is up on the board, you are good. If you have a phone that is currently connected, my ladies up in the front are, you guys still don't have one?
We just got it up.
You got it connected?
I got it.
Okay, excellent. Okay, good. So, yeah.
We're all we're all in favor.
Okay. One, 4, 5. One more. Legend Paulson, that's a good one. Last night I got Happy Badger. I was like, I didn't know Badgers could be happy.
All right, I have 5 teams.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, okay, so just to review the rules, okay? You have like 5 seconds before it starts. Oh,
Solo.
okay. So you have 5 seconds before it starts, and then you have 30 seconds to respond to the question. 5 seconds before you can click, 30 seconds to respond as well. All right? Are you ready? If you play this, you can play it with the audio on, and there's lots of fun music that gets really exciting. We might hear some of it, but it's real loud, so I'm going to try not to go with a whole bunch of it. Ready? Are you ready? Ready. Okay. How long is November?
30 days.
So, 2 seconds, 1 second, and then you can choose.
It's multiple choice.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
So the next screen is going to show us.
November is the first month of the winter season.
Oh, it's October, right?
Winter season.
Yes. We didn't even get along.
What is the choice of motion in November?
No, she did the right thing. Red.
Oh, that's how
I just put red.
So this is animation. You can embed these as you work along. So this is like, gives you an example of how you could say the right answer. I mean, everybody got it, but if you didn't. Or like you can embed like little scenarios if you wanted to. So it's cool. There's a little more than just the game. I didn't customize these, but you can customize them for your own. Yeah.
Oh, does it not?
I know. Stamp collection month.
Works for do you have all the answers? All right, everybody got it. I like how the leaderboard's moving, guys. Somebody can get that. Oh, puzzle.
For Thanksgiving. Drag on that. No, Veterans Day is going to go here, right? Also, she said, so.
The day after.
Yeah.
Día de los Muertos.
That's interesting.
I don't really know what
But you said, it's November 1st, so before that. Right, but it could be after. Yeah. Don't know.
It's exciting.
Oh, great.
17. Yay!
What's up, Ron?
That's real now.
November 2000, the first crew arrived at the International Space Station. True or false?
Can the timing be changed on this so that it's like less than 30 seconds? Or is it always
Random.
So many of the things could be wrong.
Absolutely.
I know. It's interesting one.
We must, because the first round. Well, oh, here we go.
So, which country has the highest average temperature in November? Imagine Possum, you are like on a Which of these famous people were born in November?
Somebody Google it while I'm
It's a great list.
It's almost like the colors represent different personalities.
Oh, Legend
They do.
In which language?
Let's go with that.
All of the above. First place. Alright, so really fun. You can build your own foods, you can use them in your classroom. Yeah, you turn it into a
Yeah, it's trippy, I think, like, fun trivia.
Yeah, yeah.
Alright, so let's see here.
I have to go ask Dave which
Oh, let's talk about video before we like get rolling here, because I have like 15 minutes left. So, video is something that people ask me a lot about. And then again, when you leave here, you'll have access to the HyperDoc, and you can look at all the other tools that either we didn't talk about or ones that you really enjoyed playing with today. So, I have, let's see here, like 3 different video tools. So the first one is Loom. Has anyone used Loom before? Cool. Yeah. I was hoping some people would say that. So Loom is a Chrome browser extension. You can also download a standalone version of it. In here I have linked to the browser app. So if you have Google Chrome, this plugs right in and you can record anything that shows up on your browser. So you can record screens, you can record yourself in the screen. And I have an example, I believe, of me talking in here. It is hosted on their website, so you can share it via a link. Free, you do have the option of saving up to like 110 photos or 110 videos on their webpage. I go over that all the time, so you can download them and you can put them on YouTube, especially if you want to incorporate captioning. But this is like what I send to instructors when they ask me questions. It's me, I'm in the corner, and then I'm walking through something on the screen. Deal with Screencast-O-Matic. Anybody used that before? Yeah. So again, another free tool. And Screencast-O-Matic allows you to publish directly to YouTube. So I jump on Screencast-O-Matic. It's again like an extension, and I click on it. Yeah.
So back on Loom, would
Yeah.
you have been able to also like navigate around the screen while you talked?
Like move it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can pull in other screens too. So it just records whatever I have going on the screen.
Okay.
So like if it's just like a static image, if I'm moving around, I can do that. Screencast-O-Matic allows you to have like a highlighter. So it's a little bit different. Like, so see how you can see where I'm clicking in here? So same deal, it's still me in the corner, it's still me walking you through something, but I get the additional option of annotation. I guess is the best way to do it. And you can, like I said, publish directly to YouTube, and so that allows you to let YouTube do captioning for you if you have any accessibility issues. Another fun fact that when we were talking about Google Slides that totally slipped my mind is that Google Slides now does live captioning.
Really?
So if I'm in Google Slides and I turn on live cap, as I'm talking, if my device can hear me, it will caption it for me.
That's huge.
It's huge, yeah.
Well, it gives the whole video conference.
Yeah, so there are lots of different ways that you could use these, right? So, you know, you can record and then add captions after, or if you're doing something live and you want the captions, so like say I'm presenting video conferencing and I have Google Slides up and I do live cap, then my captions are already there as I'm talking through. They're not going to be perfect, they're pretty good. Same thing with YouTube, they're not perfect, they're pretty good.
Do they learn, like if you play with it?
I think so, yeah. I haven't played with them that much and they come out pretty good for me. But that's again only in the few that I've done. That's kind of like a new thing that I learned about actually when I was at a conference. So
Some workshops are good.
some of the workshops are really good. Ones on accessibility are great. And then Flipgrid is one that I have in here. And I do have an example of Flipgrid, and I invite you to join my Flipgrid and record your own things if you want to experiment with it. Flipgrid is a place that you can have video conversations with people. So say I want to have people introduce themselves, what I've done here. I go in and I choose a template, and then I can get the conversation started by posting a video. And all you do is hit this big green plus, and it launches their video recorder. And then you can record yourself, me in my office. And if I have the audio turned up, it's just me talking to you. So I invite you to check that out. But you can respond to me and introduce yourself as well. So all you do is go on, click on my Flipgrid room, hit the green plus sign, and record. So those are 3 pretty easy video tools. A couple for if you are, say, developing rapid video, you need to get it out tomorrow, you can share it via links. And then Flipgrid you can share via link too, and you can get a conversation going within your team, or maybe like your classroom. Maybe it's a pre-post classroom experience.
So it would be an asynchronous conversation, but still in video, so people are seeing facial expressions. And
Right.
I had a person just ask me to put faces on when we did audio recordings because she reads lips.
Yeah.
And she needs that assist for hearing.
There you go.
But
you
this
can have
would be
video
perfect,
conversations
yeah.
with her. Yeah. So like if you don't already have a platform where you can have video conversations with people, this is a cool tool. And again, K-12 is like heavy into this. They use it for like, they'll pose a question and then they'll have like groups of kids or like even just individual students like at home respond to those questions, or you know maybe later in a different environment and respond to those questions, and then you can go back and you can view them all. So I did this with some of my classmates, and you click on all the different videos and you see that the big trend in what we were talking about is that people are terrified of looking at themselves in video. Obviously I don't have this problem because all the videos of myself. So it's also a good way to kind of get yourself used to what you sound and look like when you're recording.
Two quick questions. First of all, with things like this, for example, is there like a short time limit to how long that is, or
Yes.
is that
So
by
these
you?
have a time limit, and I don't know if you can set it or if it's just specified, but if you go on to Flipgrid's site, they'll tell you what the time limits are. It's kind of like Twitter, you have a small amount that you can post. Same idea, you have a small window in which you can respond.
And then the second question is, are all of these videos where you've put yourself into the corner or wherever it is that you've been in these, are these all done through just like a mobile, like a phone or an iPad? Or
Yeah,
do
you
you
can
need
use
special equipment?
Screencast-O-Matic, you can use Screencast-O-Matic or Loom on either a mobile device or on your computer, as long as you have a webcam and an audio recorder. So if you are using a laptop, you most likely have those things. If you have a little sticky on the top that covers your camera, you're going to want to take that off. So a lot of people will jump on video calls with me and they'll be like, I can see you, can you see me? And I'm like, no, I see your yellow sticky note, please remove that so I can see your beautiful face, thanks. Right? All right. So I have time for like one more, so let's see what else I get going on over here. I heard Yurt Life was one that people were interested in, so I invite you to check out the Yurt post on my site. I will shamelessly say that we have a time lapse of when we built the yurt, which is really cool, and I filmed that. So the remove background, you literally just open the link, it's at the very bottom here. And you can upload an image. Try to make it something that there's like either a person or an identifiable object, because it is an automatic process, so it's not perfect. You upload the image, and then it literally just cuts the background out.
Wow.
So I would say that like 70% of the time it's like perfect. A couple other times I do take it and then I'll drop it into Photoshop and do a little bit of manipulating. One time it cut off like my arm, which I wanted, so I had to go back and put that back. But it is really quick. So again, not a total waste of my time, but also I would, again, it's not green screening, it's just removing backgrounds. So like if you're placing your people in different locations or maybe different backgrounds, it's a cool little tool and that's in the toolbox as well. And then somebody asked about PictoChart. So I have PictoChart down here under graphics, but it is something that you can use to build presentations, social media posts, or timelines. And so in mine, I did like a Twitter report out for one of my classes, and I like it because I designed nothing in here. I literally just put in words and snapshots from Twitter, but it looks like I put a lot of work into it, and I did. But when you go to their site, you can choose what you want to build. So you can choose from like their whole line of presentations, from posters, reports. So if you want to make some jazzy reports, you totally can. Flyers, social media, and then I like the infographics. You can do timelines. So like if you want to discuss things that are along, like maybe it's an introduction to your company and you want to talk about where you started and now where you're at with a nice infographic, you can do that.
Is this free?
It is. So you can only build like 3 things for free. But it's 3 things that I didn't have before. And then I think if I delete them, then I can have more.
You can. Yeah, you can download it to your own computer and like just update it through whatever other programs you have. Delete it from PictoChart, and you have 3 more to play with.
Wow.
Yes. There was a question over here.
Does it do flowcharts, and does it do it horizontally rather than vertical?
You can choose different templates. So I know that in an infographic I was looking at some timelines, but they're mostly here.
Okay.
So they're mostly up and down. But you can play with it. That's just something that I personally haven't played with.
Okay.
So, I mean, and then once you have it, it's like an image, so then you can put it into other programs. So if you took it, in theory, and put it into like ThingLink, you could make your timeline clickable with, call-outs for the pieces of your timeline. So, being creative with it.
So say that again. I think if you created a PictoChart,
Yeah.
then you could put it in as a picture.
Right.
Then you could put it in.
You put it in like ThingLink, and then
And
you
then
can
I
make
could
them, yeah.
Okay.
So experiment with it, right? So like they're not all standalone tools. A lot of these things you can pull pieces out that are going to work for what you're trying to do, and you can build something kind of new that's totally your own. So we are at 9:10, so I'm going to wrap it up, but I do hope that you take a look back and check out the toolbox. There's lots of other stuff that we didn't necessarily get to, including surveys. And so I will point out 3 surveys. There's one on your table for the crew here at ATD, which you can just scan the QR code. And then for me, if you go onto the site, I do have a post-presentation form that I would love if you filled out and let me know what tool you liked best and you want to take home with you today.
Where is your?
It is available on my website, j.uptoyour.com, and I have it embedded at the bottom of my No Money, No People, No Problem presentation page. And I do hope that you will connect with me on LinkedIn, Twitter, on my website. Yeah. 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 You ever seen my pop on this thing? You got it. I love it. It's on the very bottom. Oh, I'm sorry. I want to go here. And then you want to go to scroll all the way down.
I'm going to do this one.
Yeah, I have a question. So throughout all of this, I've wanted
mean, most of these tools you're gonna have to create an account, but not all of them. So like the background VG is just a site that you go to and you can remove backgrounds. But like if they plug into Google and you connect it to say your work account, they're going to be connected to your work account and whatever IT is specified for like permissions there. So you may be limited in what you can do in some of the tools. What I find is that a lot of these, you create an account, I usually use my personal email, that way I can keep it, and then you can take a lot of the items with you. So like, I'm not trying to share a lot of private information. I build a lot of stuff that's available kind of to the masses on the internet. So that isn't so much a concern for a lot of the things that I'm using them for, but you might have that feeling, like you might not want your Twitter stuff out. Like I'm using Twitter as a tool, so like I'm okay with that.
So I'm less worried about people accessing the content that I'm sharing through these sites, but more spyware and that sort of thing. I mean, if the sites are somehow gaining access to the rest of my systems.
I would just research the site that you want to use. I don't find a lot of them pull more than my name and my email address. Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
But then if you wanted to get back into it, you can.
Yeah. So I would use judgment, right? Use the tools that you think are going to work for you and the way that you think is going to work well for you. And, just be aware of your company policies. If your company policy is that you can't put anything on the internet, then you're not going to want to build an Adobe Spark and share it via. But if you're not sharing anything that's like really, I mean, Adobe is pretty big, guys. I'm just saying. Adobe is pretty safe. So. I love you. I say that all the time. Yeah.
And I would hear my voice. Good morning. And I was like, oh my God, shut me off. And I was like, really? And it fell out. One time I spent like the first few minutes while people were logging in. I was like, good morning. And everybody had their shopping done. And I was like, oh my God. And I was so annoyed. It's shopping. It's fun.
Way excited for 9 o'clock in the morning.
All right, well, I would like to thank Jay for and my name is Ariel Darling. Some of you know me. I am the VP of Communications here at ATD. And so, where'd she go? So thank you again to Jay. I know that I personally am super excited to go back and look into a little bit more about Adobe Spark, Think, Blink, and Kahoot. I don't know about you guys, but those are my 3 go-tos here. And so those are all 3 things that I did not know about before coming here, so thank you again. If you would not mind, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and pass in your name tag. We are going to do the drawing for Educated by Design. Another one that I'm looking forward to reading as well. I want to join Jay's book club on that.
Exactly.
And as we are going around collecting those, please do take the survey that is linked to on your table. If I win this, that'd be very cool. Just saying. So do take that. A couple of things to keep in mind while we are pulling that, if you don't mind. Mine is